is unfair.
Hey everybody, Alex a Critic here, and like any dweller of the internet, I enjoy watching a good meme every once in a while, and one of my favorite memes to watch is the Thanos beatbox.
For those who don't know what the Thanos beatboxing meme is, it's an animated clip of the supervillain Thanos from Marvel Comics rapping against Darkseid, a supervillain from DC Comics. Thanos finishes his verse by performing a pretty solid beatbox solo.
Let me show you how to scratch it. Either way, destiny still arrives.
The clip itself is taken from a much longer episode of Cartoon Beatbox Battles, an animated web series about characters from all sorts of media being pitted against one another in beatboxing battles. The web series is produced and hosted by the YouTuber Verbalase, whose channel has over 5 million subscribers.
Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm bringing any of this up. The reason is because Verbalase has gotten himself caught up in some good old-fashioned internet drama. What exactly did he do? It's a bit of a long story, but I'll do my best to summarize it.
On January 11th of this year, a Twitter user by the name of the Star of Luck posted a long thread bringing light to an animated music video that Verbalase had commissioned back in 2021. The music video was extremely sexual in nature and featured Charlie, the protagonist of another animated web series named Has Been Hotel, kidnapping and raping Verbalase's animated persona. According to the Star of Luck, this music video cost $50,000 to make, bankrupted Verbalase, and forced him to cancel Cartoon Beatbox Battles. Now, the Star of Luck was not the first person to shed light on this music video. Another Twitter user named SFGT Games had tweeted about it 2 days before their original thread was posted, and apparently, the music video itself had been up on YouTube since September of last year before getting taken down for copyright infringement in January. However, the Star of Luck's thread was what drew most people's eyes to the music video's existence, and even more eyes would be drawn to it when another Twitter user named OOC Western R34 uploaded the full thing to Twitter only a few hours after the initial thread was posted. Their tweet got 14 million views, along with tens of thousands of likes and retweets.
From there, the denizens of the internet did what they do best: flap their gums. Most of the discourse about this music video centered around its content and its $50,000 production cost. As more and more time passed, however, a couple serious allegations started being laid at Verbalase's feet as well. Aside from the Star of Luck's initial claims that the music video bankrupted Verbalase and forced him to cancel Cartoon Beatbox Battles, Verbalase was also accused of hiring a minor, in this case a 15-year-old, to animate the music video and paying for the entire project with money that fans had given him to continue producing more episodes of Cartoon Beatbox Battles. That all sounds like pretty awful stuff, right? So, how did Verbalase respond to this growing controversy?
Initially, Verbalase chose to simply ignore the drama and let it blow over, arguing to the members of his Discord server that the internet had already chosen a narrative to run with, and so nothing he could say in his defense would change anybody's mind. Eventually, however, Verbalase did upload a proper 5-minute long response to this drama on his second channel on January 19th.
Unfortunately, his response was not a good one, and I'm here today to explain why.
First and foremost, I want to call attention to the 2 community posts that Verbalase shared his response video in. One was posted to his main channel, and the other was posted on his second channel.
Now, there's nothing wrong with letting your audience know that you've made a response to the drama that you've found yourself in. Rather, it's what's in these community posts that I'm raising an eyebrow at.
For example, the post on Verbalase's main channel has its comments disabled for no real reason, which is very suspicious. Verbalase has stated on another recent post that he doesn't know why their comments are disabled, but that the issue has been fixed. However, if you'll notice, that isn't true. The comments are still disabled on this community post as well, which, again, is very suspicious. Either this 5 million subscriber YouTuber, whose channel is over a decade old, has no idea how the fucking website he makes his money on works, or he's trying to control the response to his video. It certainly doesn't help that the video itself was uploaded to a way smaller side channel of his that most of his audience probably aren't going to know about, even with this community post. Putting that aside, once you sit down and actually read these posts, both of which are identical, for yourself, you find out that Verbalase doesn't actually say anything of substance in them. He instead goes on and on about how trying of a week it's been for him, how he's not gonna judge people, and how much he appreciates that there are still plenty of fans out there who are sticking by his side. What little information he does provide is either completely irrelevant to the controversy at hand, or is incredibly fucking vague. For example, Verbalase apologizes for, quote, statements made on social media regarding my opinions on what's going on in the world, but doesn't explain what opinions he gave that he's sorry for, when and where these opinions were voiced, and why people were pissed off about them. As for the music video that landed him in hot water to begin with, all Verbalase does is give some brief context as to why the video was made and how it got leaked. He then explains that the music video was never released on any of his channels because of its adult subject matter, although he had once thought of putting it on a new channel, quote, intended for a more mature audience. Finally, he says that he privately uploaded it to a separate channel, then ultimately took it down, but not before, quote, so #VerbalaseMeBody downloaded it and made it public.
Ignoring the poor spelling that makes it difficult to decipher what exactly Verbalase is trying to say, I have to ask how exactly the video got leaked if it has never been uploaded publicly in any fashion. If Verbalase's story is to be believed, then there's no way that this music video could have gotten leaked unless he got hacked.
Keep in mind, the Star of Luck, the person who started this controversy, claimed that the video was posted publicly on another channel, and that it had eventually been found by someone in, quote, the YBB community, which is how other people were able to get a hold of it. A story that not only makes much more sense than Verbalase's, but might have been worth disavowing in his fucking community post, if indeed what the Star of Luck is alleging here is completely false.
But Alex, Verbalase irons out these inconsistencies in his response video.
You poor naive chump.
Get the booze out, folks, because things are about to get very ugly.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Verbalase. Oh my gosh, it's been a very crazy time of year.
I bet it has, Verbalase. I bet it has.
I've been getting a lot of emails that got me emotional, but not in the way you think. It's a lot of people coming out to support me during these difficult times with all the slander, defamation, and allegations being made against me.
Calling the allegations that were made against you slander and defamation? Now that's more like it. So, are you gonna start explaining why you feel that way, Verbalase?
I was expecting everybody to just believe in everything they read online, but instead a lot of people were emailing me saying that they still support me And that honestly made me want to cry. And it also made me want to make this video for everybody that's still a fan of me.
That's really dope and everything, but like, when are you gonna start addressing things? Isn't that what the title of this video is? Addressing things? Well, the floor is yours, Verbalase. Start addressing things.
First off, I want to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to you guys for still supporting me. And second off, I want to sincerely apologize for my statements made online about my opinions with some of the stuff going on out there. But I realized my opinions was based on a broad perspective, because I've been watching other YouTube channels, you know, talk about stuff going on in Hollywood, and that kind of influenced my own state of mind when I started making these comments out there.
For a video that's supposed to be about clearing things up, I still don't know what comments Verbalase is apologizing for. He mentioned something about the current state of Hollywood and being swayed by popular influencers, but that really doesn't explain anything. Verbalase, you do know that not everyone going into this video is going to know what actions you're apologizing for, don't you? It would help if you went into the specifics of what exactly you said and why you were being criticized for them, because otherwise, your apology for these things is going to come off as incredibly disingenuous. For fuck's sake, Verbalase could be apologizing for completely innocuous comments that politically motivated people misconstrued. But guess what? I wouldn't be able to defend him if indeed that did happen, because I don't know what the fuck he said. Hey everybody, Editing Room Alex here, and while I was doing some more research into the Verbalase drama, I stumbled across a video made by Ali Mohamdani named The True Story of the Verbalase $50,000 Controversy. The video covers a lot of shitty things that Verbalase has allegedly done to his fans, and I'll be going over the most severe/relevant claims. First and foremost, Ali shares some of the messages that Verbalase is apologizing for, which I'll play for you guys right now.
Oh, and also, Verbalase is openly homophobic and transphobic too. I won't get too much into it, but I'll put the screenshots up on screen.
Now, between you and me, I don't think that any of these messages are transphobic or homophobic, and I believe that Ali is a giant pussy for thinking otherwise.
For example, in 2 of these screenshots, Verbalase tells his Discord server that he wouldn't take his kids to a quote, drag queen / pride parade event being hosted by Disneyland because he believes that such sexually subversive bullshit should be kept away from kids. Even if you buy into the people should be allowed to love whoever they want and identify however they want nonsense, what exactly is problematic about thinking that such sexually charged topics should be kept out of the reach of children? And in the last screenshot, all Verbalase basically says is that people should love themselves for who they are and not try to pretend to be something they're not. What the fuck is transphobic or homophobic about that? The only slightly homophobic comment from Verbalase that Ali shows in this video is the 3rd screenshot, where Verbalase tells some anonymous account to quote, keep that gay crap out of here. And let me tell you, Ali, if that was the worst message from Verbalase that you could find, then you need to grow a goddamn spine.
So yeah, to nobody's surprise, the transphobic and homophobic comments that Verbalase gave turned out to be a complete nothing burger, which makes his apologizing for them a spineless move. But that's besides the point. What isn't a nothing burger, however, are the other claims that Ali makes against Verbalase, because he actually does provide some solid evidence for them. These include false flagging other YouTubers for making their own beatboxing shows.
I found cartoon beatbox battles in 2019 when I was only 10 years old. I would learn and recite the beatboxes as if they were my religion. I loved the show so much that it inspired me to make my own fan-made series. While crappily edited with bad beatboxes, I was only 10 years old, and you can check out the video with most old videos that we uploaded not too long ago. But one day it all came crashing down. Since I was only so young, I had no idea what copyright claims and more importantly copyright strikes were. In May of 2020, Verbalase gave me 2 copyright strikes for stealing his content. I rushed to private them the following night, consulting with some other friends that had received strikes earlier that day. Channels like Hydro Animates, Ban Yunten, and more. But it was too late. On May 28th, 2020, Verbalase took down my channel and many others as well. I was only 10 at the time, and this left me devastated. I remember waking up that morning, crying at 6 AM because videos I was making since 2018 were all gone with no trace. I tried emailing Verbalase many times with minimal luck.
And talking about his incredibly sexual music video to his Discord server full of minors.
Verbalase had told his server that he'd been working on a special project that cost him $47,000 and sent a screenshot of him and Charlie Morningstar from Aspen Hotel, telling us that he had been working to create an animated music video using Synapson's Hideaway song, as he felt the original music video was distasteful to the song's message. So, boom. $47,000 on this project that H claims he cannot release publicly on YouTube as it contains mature topics. Which then raises 2 questions. 1, why would you spend $47,000 on an animation that you cannot post, meaning you will not be receiving any profit from the video? And 2, if this video is too mature to post, why would you tell a server full of minors, most of which are under the age of 15, that this video exists?
Not only are these some serious claims that could do a lot of damage to Verbalase's career, if not kill it entirely, but it's also worth noting that Ali's video has 750,000 views and was posted on January 15th, 4 days before Verbalase's response to this controversy was uploaded. So, with Ali's video casting this huge of a spotlight on these incredibly shitty behaviors, you would think that Verbalase would want to refute it in his response to this drama, if indeed everything that Ali has been saying so far have been outright lies, wouldn't you? So, does he do that? Does he refute any of Ali's claims? Well, I wouldn't be making this video if he did, so there's your answer.
I'm like, wait, I'm a Buddhist. I believe everybody should be at peace with each other. And instead of focusing on our similarities, I was focusing more on our differences, which caused me to make those statements out there. And I am sincerely sorry for that, because that is not how I should be behaving as a person.
Again, all of that sounds really nice and everything, but when are you gonna go into detail about what it is you said?
All here for a reason. I myself was bullied in high school just for being myself. I was a nerd, a geeky kid. I didn't walk, talk, and act like all the other kids, and I got bullied and picked on for that. And it's kind of weird that I didn't find the similarity in what other people out there may be going through just because you're not acting how somebody else thinks you should act, because I went through that.
Not to sound like an asshole or anything here, but I really don't care for all of this victimizing. Would you stop wasting our time with all of this flowery bullshit and just get to the point already?
But I got influenced through, social media, articles, and different videos out there instead of thinking with my own authentic mind, and I really do apologize for that.
Verbalase, I don't need you to tell me to think for myself and not just blindly follow whatever the mob is saying. What I do need you to start doing is actually address things.
And I really do apologize for that, because I'm not that kind of person. I've never been that person in my past videos on YouTube and everything like that, but I am a human being. Just because I'm an influencer doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistakes. But I am taking this whole experience to learn from it and grow from it. I'm not going to take it as somebody going to be defeated. Like, why would you let an experience defeat you? You should let it make you grow as a person. And that's what I'm going to do. From now on, instead of focusing on our natural differences, I'm going to focus on our similarities. That's what I'm going to focus on from now on.
My God! I've never seen someone talk so much and yet say so little. What the hell does any of this have to do with the allegations that were made against you?
Starting the video, this actually was started in 2021 by a company called Cough or something, and it was finished in 2022. I was tinkering with the notion back then of making a separate YouTube channel that was intended for a more mature, older audience. So when the video was completed in 2022, I made a separate YouTube channel marked the video as not made for kids. You have to be 18 older and up to watch it for obvious reasons. I think the video was even unlisted. After it was up for a while, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this because I still want to focus on the other stuff. So I deleted the video and deleted the channel. Little did I know, somebody saw the video and downloaded it and re-uploaded it and made it public on my birthday and decided to tag me in the video. But again, this video was intended for a mature audience, and I wanted to just like put some different type of content out there separate from my YouTube channel.
Wow. It took 2.5 minutes for Verbalase to get to the thing that everyone actually cares about, which was the music video, and he wound up not revealing anything that we didn't already know. He didn't answer whether or not the music video bankrupted him and forced him to cancel cartoon beatbox battles. He didn't answer whether or not the music video was made with money that fans donated to him to keep cartoon beatbox battles going. For a video that's specifically supposed to be about addressing things, you're not really addressing much of anything, Verbalase. First off, Verbalase claims that he contracted the music video out to a professional animation studio, yet he doesn't seem to remember the name of said studio.
Starting the video, this actually was started in 2021 by a company called Cough or something.
You would think that he wouldn't want to forget an important detail like that, especially when such a detail would make it easy to debunk the claims that he hired a minor to animate this music video by giving people an easy way to verify the ages of its producers. However, even if Verbalase legitimately forgot the name of the studio he paid to make this music video for him, he presumably still has his email correspondence with them. Hell, he's flashing one of the emails they sent him on the screen. Are you really telling me that he couldn't go back and remind himself what the studio's name was?
Speaking of this screenshot, it doesn't actually prove whether or not this music video was animated by a 15-year-old by itself. Of the contents that Verbalase didn't censor, all we see is the animator telling him that they made some basic updates to the animatic, such as adding some rough animation to the initial render, before informing him that the animatic doesn't have lip syncing in it yet, which, again, doesn't tell us jack shit.
Now, before everybody starts flipping out on me, let me make it absolutely clear that I do not personally believe that Verbalase hired a minor to animate this music video.
For one, the animation in the music video is far too good to have been done by one teenager within the span of a year, even one paid with 50 grand. No disrespect to any amateur teenage animators who might be watching this video, but the movements, lip syncing, and background art for this AMV far surpasses what many adult animators are capable of doing. So basic common sense leads me to believe that this was not done by a 15-year-old. Plus, the animator posted their name on the screen at the beginning of the music video, so if this Stephen Chase was a minor, I think someone would have proven that by now.
Next, I feel like there are more than a few legal and logistical hurdles that would make it nigh impossible for Verbalase to wire a minor as much of an amount of money as $50,000. So I highly doubt he would go through all of that trouble just to get his hands on self-insert softcore porn.
Last but not least, there are leaked messages from Verbalase's Discord server where the man himself claimed that he hired a professional studio to animate the music video, and that the whole process cost him well over $47,000. While these messages contradict Verbalase's claim that the music video was intended to go up on a separate channel he wanted to create that would be geared towards mature audiences, since he informs his Discord server that he can't release it online because of its contents, never mind mind the fact that Verbalase's Discord server was full of minors, so why the hell would he be trying to advertise a more mature project to them? They have been verified through email exchanges he had with an adult animator he tried to hire for the project. Email exchanges that a cartoon reviewer named Saberspark acquired and released on his YouTube video about this exact subject thanks to his being a friend of this animator.
It still doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why Verbalase is surprised that the music video found its way to the general public.
Little did I know, somebody saw the video and downloaded it and re-uploaded it and made it public on my birthday.
Since if he was talking about its production with all of these other people, then there's a good chance that he probably shared some screenshots from the music video, or even the full video itself, to them.
In fact, it's not only probable that he did this, but it's been confirmed that he did this, both through the screenshots that Saberspark's animator friend shared, and what Ali shared in his video about the drama.
I already stated how Ace told his Discord server full of underage children that a video of this nature existed, and that it was too mature to post on his channel. But he had posted it elsewhere, on a channel named Chase, with the description, "Animated music videos where the girls pursue the boys." But now back to Hydro Animates. In June of 2023, their cousin, we'll call Puffin, had found the video and sent the video to Hydro. Hydro sent it in a group chat containing some of her close friends at the time, including me and the creator of the very popular thread on this topic, the Star of Luck.
From there, some of these people probably downloaded it without Verbalase's permission, which is how it later got leaked.
To make a long point short, what I'm saying is that Verbalase's story for how the music video came to be smells like bullshit to me. However, so does the claim that he hired a 15-year-old to animate it.
And just in case any of Verbalase's fanboys still think that I'm operating in bad faith, let me just state for the record that I do not buy the bankruptcy claim either.
If you didn't know, bankruptcy is a very public affair, meaning that if you go full Michael Scott and declare it, there are going to be records about it that any random asshole on the internet can access, and I haven't found any bankruptcy records posted online which tie back to Verbalase.
Plus, considering how huge of a YouTuber Verbalase is, and how public he's been with the difficulties he's had in keeping his main web series afloat, you would think that if he had gone bankrupt, an internet sleuth would have brought that up to the public's attention by now. The fact that such a thing hasn't happened in the 1 or 2 years since this music video was produced would suggest that it did not in fact cause Verbalase to go bankrupt. It's far more plausible that the bankruptcy, if it did happen, was the result of other bad financial decisions that Verbalase made in the past. Worst case scenario, the music video is the straw that broke the camel's back, but it's not the sole reason he's in the red. However, regardless of whether or not you believe any of the claims that have been made about Verbalase, I think we can all agree that nothing he says or shows in this video debunks any of them. And that's a really big problem when the explicit purpose of this video is to address all of these things.
For comparison's sake, let's take a look at a long video that a YouTuber named Dream uploaded a few weeks ago. For those of you who don't know who Dream is, he's a Minecraft YouTuber who's been caught up in an endless number of dramas and controversies over his career. He's been accused of everything from cheating at speedruns to grooming minors, and he made this video in an attempt to respond to all of the most serious allegations that have been made against him. Some of them he owns up to while providing additional context that makes him look less malicious malicious, like the speedrun cheating controversy.
Now moving on to one of the most talked about controversies, the cheating scandal. I'm going to be pretty concise with this one because it's been covered a million times and most of you are probably pretty sick of hearing about it, but it's still really important to talk about. It's one of the most frequent reasons people point to as to why not to trust me. I did unintentionally cheat on a speedrun that I officially submitted to the leaderboards in 2020, and the speedrun mods were completely in the right for taking it down. I was using a disallowed mod for about a week on my live streams when a new version of Minecraft came out, and I was unaware that this mod existed. When I was defending myself, I didn't know that I'd been using the mod, and it's a really complicated and lengthy explanation of how it's very reasonable that I didn't know that I had the mod, so I can't go into that here. A lot of people say that it's impossible that I wouldn't have known that I was so lucky, but those people don't realize that it was a little bit of luck over a very long period of time, and not a lot of luck at once. It was actually only uncovered by a cheater themselves, who later got exposed for doing that same thing in the past.
Yes, that's right, Minecravenger. The very same person that first publicly exposed Dream for cheating in his runs has just been caught cheating himself. And not only cheating once, but cheating multiple world records over a span of more than 2 years.
I was defending myself so confidently publicly because me and a developer had already considered and ruled out the possibility that I could have been using a mod. Carl Jobst, a very well-respected YouTuber that also investigates speedruns, made a video going into all the details. It's over an hour long. If you'd like to watch it to understand how that could happen and all the supporting evidence around it, you can. He is very critical of me in it, but here's his short conclusion that backs up what I'm saying from after his thorough investigation.
In conjunction with all of the evidence I've seen, I believe the essence of what Dream was claiming in his paste bin was probably true. In my opinion, it is definitely more likely that he really didn't know his drop rates and barter rates were modified. Was it intentional? And I do believe that it probably wasn't.
He did a lot of research and interviewed a lot of people to come to that conclusion. He interviewed the mod team, me, developers, and a lot more. Still fully responsible for my behavior back then towards the moderators, regardless of my intentions, and I did act like a little baby and caused the majority of the problems myself, so I'm sorry. But that's out of the way, I want to clear up some quick misinformation around it. One, it had nothing to do with my manhunt videos or any video or speedrun I have ever posted on my YouTube channel. It was specifically live streamed attempts that I did during a 1 week or so period over 3 years ago. It's a common misconception that the cheating had to do with my YouTube channel, manhunt, or any other videos I've posted. Two, I didn't hire a fake astrophysicist to defend me, which is also commonly said. Knowing nothing about math, but fully believing in my innocence at the time, given the accusation was purely based on math, I used a website for math freelancers and reached out directly to a highly qualified professor that said they'd be willing to help me. They even made one of their conditions before agreeing that no matter what their conclusion was, I had to publish their results, even if their conclusion was that I was guilty. I agreed to this.
Dream briefly explained the situation, and the expert agreed to help. The expert provided Dream with a few terms, one of them being that Dream post the results no matter the outcome.
Obviously their report ended up getting ripped to shreds, but I had no idea that would be the case. I knew absolutely nothing about math, and I fully believed in my innocence, so when a highly qualified third party was agreeing with me, it made me even more confident and bold. There was many factors as to why the report ended up being bad, partially due to the public pressure and it being rushed, partially due to them not knowing as much about Minecraft as the mod team did, but regardless, I didn't bribe or make up a fake astrophysicist, which is something people frequently say. The speedrun mod team and many other parties independently verified their credentials and the fact that they exist. I also put way more information in the description on this, just for transparency's sake, including proof about the professor, all of my emails to them, and even screenshots of messages that I never provided in the past.
While others he flat out debunks by providing solid evidence that clears his name, which is what Verbalase should have done in his video. For example, some people claimed that they filed police reports on Dream for his supposed child grooming, and in response to those people, Dream actually called up all of the police departments of the cities he's lived in to verify their claims.
Lastly, once again, she said she was going to take legal action. She then tweeted a picture of the inside of a police station, and also said she'll come back with more evidence, to be patient, that it's a process, and that it could be days. And that's her last tweet. It's been almost 1.5 years now. Obviously, nothing happened. I waited and waited. Then, I got impatient, so I asked my legal team to look more into it. They got all of her information, and after filing many requests, they couldn't find anything. So, annoyed and still impatient, I asked them to get more specific. And after a lot of digging, my legal team was able to track down exactly where this picture is from based on the colors of the walls, the cameras, and a plaque outside the door. Then had someone go to the police station and requested specific records from this specific police station, and checked every record they could, criminal and civil.
I didn't find anything under either one of those names.
And there was no information at all. I was not even in their system.
So you're not listed in my system at all.
So if you want to believe everything she said, you have to believe either one of these two things. Either one, she lied, this photo is fake, she never filed anything, and if she's lying about that, why would she not be lying about literally everything else? Or two, the picture is real, and whatever story she told didn't even meet the minimum required standard of proof to file a single piece of paperwork that my legal team could find in over a year and a half. I also sent a photocopy of my driver's license identification to this specific police station, a copy of Amanda's information, and let them know I was happy to answer any questions. To which, again, nothing ever happened. Not a single question, there was not a single case, accusation, or anything substantial enough to even have me in any system.
Keep in mind that before this point in the video, Dream had thoroughly debunked every serious allegation of child grooming and general sexual misconduct that had been made against him by not only showing evidence that paints him in a favorable light, but pointing out contradictions in the stories of his accusers. I'm only gonna play one example of this though, because this section of the video has gone on long enough, and I'm sure that you guys want me to get back to Verbalase.
Amanda claims that after I added her on Snapchat on January 17th, 2022, that we started sexting. She showed that her birthday, when she would turn 18, is on February 17th, exactly a month later. She claims that we sexted from around the 17th of January, the day I added her on Snapchat, to the 10th of February, and then that it stopped. She said that while she was still underage, we exchanged nudes. Her evidence of this was 2 photos of, supposedly me, from after she was 18, complimenting her. Her final important claim was that she traveled to Orlando in August and that we planned to meet up and have sex. Every contact we've ever had with each other before January 17th is the Instagram DMs, which I just read to you, which are now all public in their entirety in the description of this video, other than the messages that she deleted. She claims that sexting started around January 17th and that sexting stopped February 10th.
So from the 17th to maybe February 10th is the time frame where we were sexting.
So even if we say that it started a couple weeks before it stopped, you'd have to believe that every message you've just seen, we went from that to sexting days later in 2022 before my face reveal. Even if you want to give her the maximum benefit of doubt and say that she confused the timeline, she turned 18 on the 17th, 1 week after she claimed the sexting stopped, so there's not much leeway. Secondly, we can talk about her Twitter. She tweeted out defending me from hate on my face reveal 10 days before the allegations, and was liking my tweets, including a subscriber milestone tweet 2 days before she tweeted her allegations. Thirdly, the only photos she showed as proof that I groomed her were both pictures from based on her own evidence after she was 18, meaning even if we give her the benefit of doubt and assume everything she's provided is real and truthful, she was 18 when these messages would have been sent, and I had no context to the fact that she was more than a small streamer. But on top of that, I unblocked her Snapchat, went through our Snapchat chats, and couldn't find either of the messages that she was talking about. I also downloaded all of our Snapchat logs using the Snapchat data tool, which she can do as well, and neither of the compliments that she showed were in the logs. Now honestly, this is pretty useless information because there's almost no messages in the logs at all, but it's still extremely weird that she was asked for these logs many times, it takes 5 minutes to download, and she never did it. On top of those things, from everything she had told me, she was 19, and we had no inappropriate contact. The context of these messages would be a 22-year-old creator calling a 19-year-old streamer gorgeous on a birthday post while giving her a gift card as a birthday present. Finally, she said that we planned to meet up and have sex in August when she was in Orlando.
It was suggested that we meet up and have sex. I was either going to have him come to the resort I was at, or he was going to pick me up and bring him to his house.
First of all, this was before my face reveal. I did not leave my house. I was massively paranoid. I was not meeting up with a random person I had just met 2 months before my face reveal, let alone at a resort, which is what her claim was. I'm gonna go ahead and play a phone call with my mom, just to give you some perspective from before my face reveal. How many times do you think that I left the house between 2021 and my face reveal?
Wow, I don't know, 3? Maybe 4.
What did I leave the house for whenever I left the house?
Well, I know you went to the dentist 3 times, and then I think one other time was when you had the kidney stones. So
oh yeah, you're the hospital.
Yeah. I think those were the only times you left the house, and we were worried because we didn't want you to call 911 because we didn't even know if they would come because of all the fake swattings and everything. So I had to come get you and take you to the hospital. So it was probably 5 times that you left.
Okay, what was the process when we did leave the house? What was the process like?
Crazy. I pulled into the garage, shut the garage door. You would get in the back seat, way back of the van, with a blanket over yourself, and you wouldn't come out from under the blanket until we were on the highway.
I was a little paranoid.
A little bit.
What was the inside of the house like? What precautions did we take?
Oh my gosh, it was like a cave. Every window was covered, even the high windows that were arches. We had to like tape curtains over them so that even a drone wouldn't be able to see in. Everything was covered. Yeah, so we had the banker come to the house because you wouldn't go out of the house, but we needed to set up bank accounts. Whatever it was that needed to happen, we were the ones that did it so that you didn't have to go out.
Again, as you can probably tell, what she claims definitely didn't happen. Either she's telling the truth, and her story makes sense, or she's not, and it doesn't.
If Verbalase really wanted to address things, why didn't he follow Dream's example by reaching out to the adult animators he hired to make his music video and sharing their testimony? That would put to rest any claims that he hired a minor to animate sexually explicit material, and he wouldn't even need to reveal any private information about them. Just show us the relevant emails which prove that they are indeed of age and do indeed work for a professional animation studio, while censoring out any private information that those emails might contain, such as names and addresses and personal social media accounts. Verbalase showed us that he knows how to do this since he censored personal bits in the one email that he did flash on the screen for us. So why he couldn't have provided further emails proving that everything was on the up and up as far as the ages of the animators were concerned is beyond me. Doesn't he not want to come across as guilty of potential child sexual abuse? What's even worse is that the rest of Verbalase's video isn't that much better.
Videos out there, judge how you will, but I'm still going to be making cartoon beatbox battles, puppet beatbox battles. There's still going to be Five Nights at Freddy's videos. My main YouTube channels is always going to be featured cartoon beatbox animation, puppet beatbox animation, or me doing all that stuff. So,
hey Verbalase, speaking of your beatbox battles, did you spend the money that fans gave you to keep making them on this music video instead? I think there are more than a few people out here who would be really interested in hearing your answer to that.
Especially since Verbalase does have a Patreon account that rakes in at least $100 a month and has been active since 2018.
But yeah, that's literally everything.
What? No, it's not! You didn't even clarify how much money the music video actually cost to make! You didn't answer whether or not it bankrupted you! You didn't answer where the money that went into it came from! For God's sake! You didn't even explain what controversial opinions you spouted, which were the only fucking things you actually apologized for in this video. Who the hell uploads an apology video that's this fucking inept?
I'm going to be moving on from this. I'm just going to keep uploading.
Ah, the old ignore all the serious allegations and just hope they go away strategy. That's a classic.
Everything's a learning experience. I know everything happens for a reason, so everything that happened within the last week is meant to teach me a lesson. I'm supposed to grow from this. I'm not supposed to be defeated. We're not supposed to be defeated from anything that happens to us.
What lesson are you supposed to be learning here exactly? The only wrongdoing you actually admitted to was having controversial opinions about the current state of Hollywood. So unless there's something fishy that you're neglecting to tell us, I'm not exactly sure what lesson you're taking away from all of this. That you shouldn't commission any more animated softcore porn?
So you can best believe I am 100% going to keep going with cartoon beatbox battles, puppet beatbox battles, everything. Verbalase is not done. I'm sure people out there want me to be canceled and quit, but you know, the only way we can truly be defeated is from ourselves, if we decide to quit ourselves. And I'm not doing that, so sorry to disappoint the haters, but I'm going to keep going.
Here's the thing, Verbalase. Although it might not sound like it, I don't want you to lose your career. I think that a lot of the content you make is really entertaining, and honestly, the music video itself is not something that anyone should be run off the internet for. Yes, it's cringy and degenerate, but I've seen content creators make far worse stuff than it, and at least no minors were involved in its production. Not only that, but if Verbalase's story is to be believed, then nobody should have been able to see it in the first place. which means that somebody hacked into his account and leaked the video as a means of trying to get him cancelled. And that's a horrible thing to have happen to you. However, the source of the money you used to make this music video is an important detail that you need to clear up, because if you don't, you will end up paying for your silence if it later comes out that you scammed your fans. Keep in mind, Verbalase has begged his fans to provide him with free animation in order to continue producing more episodes of cartoon beatbox battles.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Verbalase, beatboxer from outer space, and some of you may already know that Cartoon Beatbox Battles is currently dead. This is not because of the YouTube algorithm, but YouTube itself not sending you guys notifications when I upload new videos, regardless of the notification bell settings. But you can save Cartoon Beatbox Battles by becoming a part of Cartoon Beatbox Battles. I know there are content creators out there with channels that need more subscribers, so I am looking for 9 animators and content creators to help create a segment in Luigi's Beatbox. Luigi's Beatbox has been divided into 9 different parts, with each part consisting of 10 seconds, which means you guys, whoever you are, will have 10 seconds to animate or create their portion of the video. This could be stop motion, puppeteering, 2D animation, 3D animation, live action, whatever you guys do to make creative content. I would like to see it. There will be an animatic video of your section provided to you for reference, so if you guys want to improve your parts with backgrounds or a crazier scenario similar to what you've been given as a reference, it'll help you win the contest. Yes, contest. Out of the 9 people chosen, one of you will win a signed Verbalase plushie. But even if you don't win, your channel will still get promoted on my channel. You can tell your friends, hey, I did a part in Luigi's Beatbox. It's going to be really cool. So it's a win-win situation.
So this nigga can't afford to pay his animators to make his actual content for him, but he does just so happen to have 50 grand lying around to spend on making animated softcore porn? Verbalase, how do you think that makes you look?
Yet another thing to keep in mind is that we've just come off of another controversy in which another family-friendly YouTuber just got outed for scamming their fans. And I don't think I need to tell you how badly the fallout from that situation hurt their channel.
If Verbalase doesn't want to become the next completionist, then he needs to come clean about where the money for this music video came from. If it came out of his own pocket, then fine, I'm going to drop this. It's his money, and he can spend it however he wants to, even if I think he's making a horrible investment. However, if it later comes out that the money used to make this music video came from fans who had donated it specifically so that Verbalase could continue producing episodes of cartoon beatbox battles, then he's screwed. In any case, the video is almost over, so let's just play the last few seconds of it so that Verbalase's fans can't accuse me of cutting him out of context.
I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Sorry about all the craziness that's going on, but I am human. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to learn from the mistakes. You will not see me repeat the same mistakes. If I do, one of those. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.
So, where do I begin? Look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like every drama that a YouTuber gets into is of the same severity. Nor that we should expect every YouTuber who does get into drama to be an emotionally reasonable, intelligent person who's capable of handling whatever shit is being flung at them by the angry mob they've courted. Dramas are different, and people are different. And because of that, the way that any given YouTuber responds to whatever drama they've stepped into is always going to be different. Because of that, I'm not going to assume the worst of Verbalase just because his response to the drama surrounding his Has-Been Hotel music video was horrible. However, he could have done a way better job of proving his innocence if he didn't fall into the same traps that have plagued other terrible response videos.
First and foremost, Verbalase should have given himself more time to make this video. His response to this drama came out on January 19th, a mere 8 days after it all started.
I'm not saying that a good response which concisely debunks every serious allegation with solid evidence can't be made within 1 week of a drama starting, but rushing out a response that quickly is generally a recipe for disaster. Firstly, your emotions are still very likely to be running high, which will inevitably impede your judgment, causing you to put things into the video that might make you look a little more guilty than you actually are. Secondly, delaying your response would just give you more and more time to gather the evidence necessary that will prove your innocence, so there's literally no incentive to rush things.
The second thing Verbalase should have done was reveal what specifically he's apologizing for.
Your apology is going to come across as dishonest and insincere to the people you've hurt with your actions if you don't even bother to tell your audience what actions you committed in the first place. On the flip side, you could be apologizing for something that you absolutely do not need to be apologizing for, in which case the people that would have defended you on that front, like myself, are unable to because, again, we don't know what the hell you did.
The last and most important thing Verbalase should have done was actually debunk any false claims that have been made against him.
Sure, you could argue that Verbalase isn't actually obligated to respond to any of the allegations that have been made against him, since the burden of proof is always on the accuser and not the accused. But if he's gonna go out of his way to make and then promote a response to these allegations that's explicitly titled Addressing Things, then I expect him to actually address things. Now, as for what happens from here on out, that's a little bit hard to tell.
As I mentioned earlier, Verbalase has gained subscribers thanks to this drama, and the only aspect of it that most people seemed to care about is how cringe the music video itself is. On top of that, the internet has already begun to move on from it, as is typically the case. Time moves very fast here after all. Hell, Verbalase himself has already moved on from it, posting a few new videos related to cartoon beatbox battles on his main channel. That alone tells me that whatever blowback he might have gotten for the more serious allegations that were made against him hasn't happened and likely never will.
Regardless of how things shake out for Verbalase, I think we can all agree on one thing. None of this would have happened if Thanos hadn't had lost to Patrick in the cartoon beatbox finals. I'm Alex the Critic, and I'll see you guys next time.